In case you missed.
Yeah, I said it. The Unfiltered podcast.
Mostly, the youth are very nonchalant about getting the legalities into place in terms.
Bon, have a challenge. Yo, use have a challenge. I feel like Facebook is like Tinder for like broke people.
Ooh.
Like growing up, like, because of there was never like funerals, Malbino, ne? But we were told for albinos, they just disappear. They don't die.
How the spaza shop industry back in the day benefited the communities that na ke le ngwana o tlhaga mo ntlong ya spaza shop, right? Ngwana a ke pagama bese ya ga ntate Chabalala. Wa ntlhaloganya? Tate Chabalala o reka go spaza shop, tšhelete e boela ko go ntate Chabalala via me, and then o taverne bosigo ntate Chabalala wa ntlhaloganya? Yeah, wa bona?
Boss's bed.
Yes. So now in a shop.
Hey, Marano waka something. Yo, black people are gonna be like, why? What's about Merego? And it's such an upset thing that in this generation, like it's okay for a person to be 40 years plus unemployed than to be 4 years plus unemployed trying to start a business. So then pornography. But the way I'm porn guys, but tlhoka mogana jazz. Bile le psychology, ba tlhoka exorcism. Like, why wasn't it na yo?
So you think South Africa will be better off if
Gore ba gaogane. Motho a tla go lotsa a bonyetse. This is, yeah, I said it, the Unfiltered podcast with Binky and Cardiac.
Oh yeah.
Welcome.
Oh, that was nice.
There's nothing nice about that.
That was nice.
Gotta get corporate.
Hi, welcome to the show, Binky.
Tell me about yourself. Do you breathe in air?
What are your hobbies?
What are your hobbies? In 5 years, where do you see yourself?
Yeah.
My nigga, I don't even see myself in 5 hours.
Oh, really?
Cha.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy.
It's a reality. So today we're going to be talking about educational things, courtesy of Cardiac. I guess our taxi driver, hey, his paza, hey, makula. I guess our who's a
No, man, there's a post that I saw from, who's this, Penwell, the black pen. So he was saying that
Abana Bay 8.
yeah, no.
Sharp. Just memory refresh.
Yeah. So he was saying that what if the taxi industry actually took over spaza shops and then they run it in the same manner as they run the taxi industry. So how the taxi industry operates is that they have an association, right?
Yeah.
And as well as if I have 5 taxis, I am under this association, but these 5 taxis get saka. So there's a certain amount of money that I pay to the association, and also my taxis kind of give back to the community in a way without literally. Nah? Let me make an example. Spaza shops back in the day, I know this because I'm from a family that had shops.
Oh,
like,
Kule with.
Yeah, Kule with. Yeah, both sides of the family had shops.
No,
Do you understand? So how the spaza shop industry back in the day benefited the communities that na ke le ngwana o tlhaga mo ntlong ya spaza shop, right? Ngwana a ke pagama bese ya ga ntate Chabalala. Wa ntlhaloganya? Tate Chabalala o reka go spaza shop, tšhelete e boela ko go ntate Chabalala via me, and then o taverne bosigo ntate Chabalala wa ntlhaloganya? Yeah, wa bona?
Boss's bed.
Yes. So now
And then betutlo stoka kwa Cardiac.
yes, you understand? So now money kind of circulates in the community because we need resources from each other, which is what's happening with the taxi industry. You pay the taxi to go to town, the taxi buys in.
After latlhega ba o skeme plates tsa 20 rand.
Oh my God.
Why
Why you bringing out the pants?
Yeah, circulate the challenge.
Yeah, so shelter circulator, but now in this generation of spaza shops, when we need basic things like food, like bread, like in Rakoma Kuleng, We do. Kukas.
Esena.
Where's
Ba
that?
bantsi.
What do you do?
Rona re tshwana le a black spaza shop. Ke lebo ebile, shout out my nigga.
Really? That's nice.
So we go, it's like across the street. Right, because we know for a fact that he orders things from your trusted brands like Coca-Cola ke Coca-Cola. I say Coca.
But I think lebone, but like the Ethiopians actually order. Makula
My
ke bone ba-
Ethiopians we rang ka fela ba itlhamela dilo re shapa ka vibe. Coke ya teng ga le isa batho dipetlele ba meetiwa ba shwa because of the acid the what. Apparently, you guys, apparently there's this also a thing. Hate na mabone means meat. Ke mogodoi so
Ke him go do it.
ke ntja.
Oh my god.
So much
guys.
to jana le Indiana. I'm not laughing, but I'm just saying, like, go shop non-black, this is what you'll get. Because they will never do so.
But happy you need to like in most cases, like in my case, I don't remember seeing a black spaza shop anymore. The only thing that you see tsa batho ba bantsho ke tsele tsa mokhoning tsele mamang a rekisa mazimbal.
Oh, ba montle straight. I say
but not
spaz.
mo shopong. But every day, in fact, every day, I want to go carry or reka borotho, motlakase, in so, and the money, yeah, the spaza shop because most of the children they grew up go in their own countries and they build houses in their own countries. So basically, chalte ifela most spaza shop, but then it doesn't really circulate back into.
Yeah, it doesn't circulate.
It doesn't circulate.
Because
they don't even drink, you know?
Let's aba taxi. Mara wena bula business tla bona SARS. Ke shaba ka di-email mfano ko robetsa gore wa ne ke bula business. Yeah, so hey.
So do you think like Penwa was saying, I found it very interesting for if
Mara taxi driver.
The not really taxi driver,
but the way how they
operation
operate. Yeah, maybe because Balesham Aranyaka like Bakailao like countries. And then so serious taxi driver Habanyaka Bakailao like country. In Lotari GBV in Tuyana just like Egafela no so.
Because you can imagine how much these people are making, like Buddy's Spaza shop.
Billion. Oh, Rabas Pazo.
Yeah, Spaza shop. Like because to think where my grandfather came from a 4-roomed house, and he started spaza businesses and also taxis. Now the house that I grew up in is
Top living.
You understand? Like it's a big house, and he was not under employment from somebody. He was in his businesses. Shop, slacha, like a butchery.
Oh, slachis.
Yeah, he had a butchery.
Catty. So,
you look like he's saying no.
Slachis. Eh, such a be say fellet. Or a slacha pela. Take him mera.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah, so but he managed to build all those into like with the taxi business and a shop.
Hey, Marano has something. Black people are gonna be like, why? What's about Merego? And it's such an upset thing that in this generation, like it's okay for a person to be 40 years plus unemployed than to be 4 years plus unemployed trying to start a business so that it can be realized into something. Eh, Maramotate. Because ba celebrate bo malume bele ba di ice boba sa le tla lefatsa so ka bereka. Mara wena ore yes, I can work, but I want to start something, even if it takes 5 years, just to have my own company, own foundation.
Do you think it was better in the apartheid system to actually start a business, than it is now?
Never seen a choice because it was the segregation part. So black people were forced to support each other. Why would you want to go to Zenton? So it was that segregation part. But now black people feel like, no, we can't trust another black person. And now
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Very.
But now it's very difficult for a black person to actually have Buddhist puzzle shop and actually maintain it.
It's tough to maintain it because of the supply. both SARS, like I said, because honestly, SARS came keen in disguise.
I think you know why, Gabi. Black people, as soon as money starts rolling in, they wanna flash instead of invest. I think that's the problem. Because here's an example. Wanna in Joburg, like downtown, ne? There's this shop in Samagui. It was a little shop. It was like a little corner. Ne? Now they have a full shop. People would line up. Ko Magunya are next door, the next door, but people will line up for
Or
this.
Babatla Al.
Babatla. And
Let's
basta
go
tila ka
Wars.
Maguing, slingling, ba dira di chipsy. And then it was just a window where they were selling from. Now when you walk past, you
The
actually
shop.
enter into a shop. You could see, oh, okay, these people are actually progressing. They're investing into themselves, but they're black people, but they're not South African. I don't know how much. Do you understand? But they're investing into themselves instead of they're investing into the business instead of investing in the flashy life or
You know
buy
what?
a car or.
You know why that's the case? The system, the South African system is meant to be against South African blacks. It's just meant to make you suffer as a South African black person.
How so? When there's BE
Sheba mo
and all that.
Joburg. BE thing just for the vibes. We hired a black person. Don't close the company. That's it. Mara Sheba, exactly what you're saying. More Joburg, most of the company the mole. As a South African, mara when all South African war olobula and a place or something. First of all, battle motaka rente. There is way up
tile,
there.
the roof,
The tile, the roofing,
yeah.
everything. And then also the expenses that the building alone. Hotle di SARS, hotle di tax, hotle di inging. You can't run a
Compliance.
business.
You have to have a compliance certificate for this and this and that and that.
Government,
Oh my
you
God.
need a certificate to actually have a business in that street. It is hard for a South African, a black South African. Let me emphasize. It's
So do you
hard.
think Makula have it different?
First of all, it's not like people don't know gore most of them batlile mo illegal. Mara business abana da florisha ba butse.
And within 2 weeks they opened.
2 weeks. Kasan ke Abraham, kasan ke Ishmael, kasan ke Mamang. Kofel and kofa ba tlo shapa strata se one. You'll never see the cops ba sunya. Hore wa gona business.
But now I think now the cops have been because of those stories that were circulated. Wa gopola that time where ba re gona le bana ba ba jileng mazimba and then ba ba tlhokafala, the 5
exactly.
kids.
But then nama borisa tas bolo bana ba lwa ke mange. Like honestly, but because now since we're talking about police officers, there was a case called the Bloof. Balutle truck, ngara truck e wheel and then balut have a party. Those people, bona mapurisa out, baile house to house, hostel to hostel, confiscating all the food that were taken. Ne, go flay off. A child went missing. One of it taxi wa nyamela. Like a taxi mo khoneng ke nna ngwana wa nyamela. Mma mo tse gore kopela ke ne flat to flat le checking ngwanaka. A couple of days later, so na strata se ngwana o tlhokofetse ba mthotse.
The same child
Who went missing. So batla mpotsa gore you couldn't go house to house o lo batla ngwana mara o ile house to house o batla na le tin fish. Like oh, mapodisa ntrigara. Like, when I give an podisa, I know something now, plus I have the worst experience with them. And then they're still doing such things. It's like, can't o prioritize tin fish.
Vene di fedile.
O prioritize tin. And ba jol. Mapodisa jola, guys. O thole nako o report crime ne. Ye no checkile ka van. O checkile ka van.
Ba ba re vene di fedile.
O fan thabiseng Sprite 0. No, nama berita ntshele kana. Yo, when I go police like ke feroga dibete. Because half of the time they've enabled these criminals to even activate it. And I kind of, yes, it's not safe for them. They can easily die or what. Guys, everyone is always faced with death every day. Occupation
Especially with the crime rate here in South Africa. You could just step out of the house and meet your doom. Literally.
Mara yo, premature death. But yeah, hey, that whole
Interesting. But just to wrap up that topic, I think we need to find ways of bringing
the cash flow
cash flow
side.
back into our kasis because Bafethu, it's tough.
It's tough also.
It really is tough, and I feel like ish, service delivery as well from the government is not much, So if there's a lot of like every time I go home, ne, every time I go home, I live in Northwest, a place called a township called Kuma, right? Every time I go home, I can't walk down the street without somebody Uncle Child. When I'm doing that here, when I'm living here in Joburg, the people who are Uncle Child are people that are actually doing that for a living, like the homeless people. Kuchai, it's normal people that you grew up with from skolo. Like everyone, Uncle Child, Magog, oh, khalek sa go bone yang, mfa 10 rand. It's like every
Like
corner
how
you go,
like
Tlhalogai.
the first day of Joburg.
Yeah, do you understand
You're
what I'm
making
saying?
money
So I think it's because there's no employment in the
right
hood,
there.
and because there's no employment in the hood, it drives back into drug abuse. Like a lot of people that I grew up with, but crystal meth.
The crystal method, what do I do?
Yeah, they addicted to that. And I was actually asking somebody, ne, he does the garden at our house. Like ke rata go mo fa di 152 go tlhagola ko stra. So ka mmotsa and like this thing ya gago crystal meth. Hey, what's in my cardiac? I know gore that is sharp ne, but it's the only way I can deal with life.
And the sad thing,
It's how I can deal with life.
and the sad thing is that most men they fall trap into the drug abuse because most men ke bana ba sa kgone go deala.
Nah, the pressure is maybe.
The pressure, yeah, it gets to them because yes, women are still dealing with a lot, and according to some stats, women are more depressed than men. Just that the only difference is that women usually attempt suicide as to men where they actually go through it, and that is why
So in terms of stats, there's more suicide in men than women.
it's not a lot, but I think it's 28% of successful suicide. But with women, it's like 48% of suicide attempts. Because most women are going through it. The anxiety, depression, the trauma.
Have you ever had suicidal thoughts?
Yeah. I think sale ke tsala ba ke bona re ke bona ramo.
I said like it is the
Ay, kopa link ntshege chai. And I go roalla number yo wa phelo happy ke happy ka bona mo kgotlong. But my first I've had suicidal thoughts, and I've tried to kill myself. I think if I was
You actually tried to do it.
I actually did. I think the first time I tried I think it was in 2016, and I was going through what teenagers go through. It was the pressure of like I'm an A student, I should always be this child. But then also it's like at home I didn't have the platform to voice out Hore, I am drowning. Like like there was no platform. And then go starting, I'm this amazing. Yo, you are smart, you are bubbly. Like there was never a time
So
where
it's a face that you always had to put on.
yeah, get strong, get sharp, because it came to a point where I had to be like to myself, okay, nobody cares. Nobody wants to listen. And then I would try journaling.
Nobody cares.
Nobody
That's
cares.
life.
So every time like I would try journaling for what am I going through, I would get into trouble for feeling what I felt and actually writing about it. So it was
So
like
who would read your journal?
bad who my principal, my family. So about like first of all, it's invasion of privacy. And then after you have invaded my privacy, instead of trying to give me
Understand,
comfort,
yeah, why-
I want to I'm going through this. So it's like, you know what? I can't do this live. Like, and then I tried killing myself. I think the other time was
How did you try to do it?
hang.
You lie. That was your
swear.
choice.
That was my choice. I was like, yo, what if I'll creamy taste that sour? Things I overthink things. Because I was like, yo, what if you're big? Because I like food. I like things that
But I
taste
get you, I
nice.
get you.
Because like, yo, go just let's and the next thing I'm Krish and stuff. So I'm like, and then
What if you can handy we can check?
yeah, and then get back like a face. Yeah, you get sharp. And then I think the other time I tried to attempt suicide. The fucked up thing now is that time I was a mother, ne? And yeah, I've been while. I think it was in 2021. Yeah, it was in 2021. After the whole experience with the guy that I spoke on first episode. So after him, like everything started falling apart. Like now I'm moving back home. I'm not working proper because of I'm experiencing weird health issues. See, got out of the blue. Like oh, like a lot was just falling apart. And then I still have to be a mother. I have to provide financially this and this and this and this and that. And I was like, you know what? So the suicidal thoughts that I would have, like like jumping off a cliff, like Sashon. And then the time I tried committing suicide, I was like, what if Kalaita has like the whole night and then we just
So you also wanted to take the
because I was
child
like,
with you.
if I kill myself alone, she's gonna
Yeah,
suffer. Like I
Utlosala le
literally
ma-
had that mental. If I kill myself, Umdana is gonna suffer. She's even gonna suffer worse because of in black families, suicide is still a taboo thing. Or this is nyama. So ngwana ka nna tlo phela gore oh bile mmago o ipolaile. You know black families whether we like it or not they end up getting to gore oh mmago o ipolaile.
Especially those aunts that don't like you.
Yeah. Thank God I don't have aunts. Thank God I don't have boke bashon and stuff. But there was always gonna be that person like if Monaka are yeah, that's also mmago o ipolaile, you know. So I was like, it's either do this with her or not at
or do
all.
or stay in life.
And then I went back to therapy. I was like, yo, guys.
Therapy saved your life.
Again and again. But then this time, Bampilelo was like, hey, we are not speaking the same language.
Don't relate.
How relate? And then I kept on calling the guy and said, therapy sa motho mo sa ke re a utlwa gore so all ke tlo re you about it. Please let us try to. I'm like yo it's a statement. Yo it's a statement on it. So I'm like kirile yo e feditse. That is an essay now. So hey
Oh, I also once had suicidal thoughts.
just once.
Yeah, just once. I think it was at a point. It was the move from Mafikeng to home.
To Kumo.
To Kuma, yes. So when I moved in Kuma, I was such a big deal in Mafikeng. Yeah, everything that I was doing, people were gravitating towards, and but now I ran out of money to pay rent in Mafikeng, so I had to move back home. So now the dynamics of back home and Maftown are very different. In Maftown, you could start an event, you could. So I was feeding my purpose every day in Maftown, and I felt very impactful and very powerful. And I get home, everything I try, in fact, like I don't know if it's a matter of you grew up in front of us, so we're not gonna support you.
Yeah, I think it's that familiarity.
Yeah,
it's weird to
when I host an event, nobody comes. When I do this, like
no one is interested.
Like I am just not supported in anything, and the radio stations are far. There's no podcast. There's nothing. And like
the artist venue keeps on dying.
Like it's dying. And I do not have a simmer of hope. And happy, I'm going back home to an empty house. My siblings are in college now.
So you are.
And I'm in a mansion. And I'm all alone. Like there's no Wi-Fi. There's everything that I was used to in Mafikeng, I don't have anymore. And you know when your family calls to check up on you, you always have this kishapo and then smile. But then deep down you know I'm lonely, I'm alone. You know what I mean? I'm all alone and I don't see a way out of my purpose because I chose this career of mine and there's no where I'm seated right now. There's no way of pushing this career. Like none. Like dry. There's one club in my hood. Only one club, the rest is tavern. And that one club doesn't want me to host, doesn't want me to perform. Like, what do I do?
And
they don't even need me. They don't even need me at that club because it's the only one club. Like everybody just goes to that club. So I felt so useless at home, and I tried to do everything. But luckily, I met who's actually my best friend. I met JJ, and he's also on that path. And he was coming from the VAL. So our mindsets were kind of the same, and we tried to do a lot of things. we introduced a lot of things, Kokasi, and it's very beautiful to see. Now when I go back to Kuma, people are hosting events, people are doing this. Like, shit, yeah, we started some things there.
Yeah, but I think familiarity is a problem, man. Like, also I think it's that thing so now when we see cardiac elevate, it brings discomfort within us. We must help you go up there while we're still here.
Do you understand?
And I used to get pissed. I know so many people, but none of my shit is moving. Like, when I was having my online business, the first client I got, Nilamotako Northwest. I'm like, Kanjani.
Yeah, be like that.
I'm like,
be like that.
I used to be pissed.
Be like that. To be honest, it is the same with Jesus Christ. You know, Jesus Christ is from a place called Nazareth. Nah? I remember reading the Bible, and then when you went back to Nazareth, people were like, nah. The Messiah. Sis, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? So even if Jesus, in his hometown, Jesus had to move to Jerusalem to.
So basically, Jesus. No,
I'm just trying to explain. To make it in his hometown, you can't do it. Yeah, no, you can't.
Nazareth.
No, he's from Nazareth. Jerusalem.
Who's a hala?
I can't read you the Bible.
No, I give a Bible, give a motivation. I give a Bible.
And you never know where you're gonna get your motivation in the Bible.
I never get a motivation go job, but a job. Jobo, Kirnegan to Sonic area.
I saw, but I never do my Disneyland job.
Do as you please. Dala de mawazos. Cause Satan figure wabana ole. Wamana producer how. Kitlo mori. Mudi martamaya. And amore. Next thing,
that was.
Yeah, Jobe went through it. Marabana. But the end result, yeah? And I think you're not matata. Because of Ronano, we have this thing, what if you're not job? Cantina.
job. Upinki.
And it doesn't mean how goisha.
You know, sometimes we have this thing as black people, né? When we're going through a lot, maybe it's a sign.
Sign as man.
Like, you know, you have this thing.
Sometimes
refer to like you're just going through it. How you see where nobody is attacking you? Like you're just going like you're going through it. It's your
like it's your season to go.
It's your season.
This meme very song is go and now go. Like a fella repeating the handbrake, you go through it. Which brings me to this conversation. Like, what are some things you cannot discuss with black families?
Ooh, your parents, stuff like that.
Parents, even your sister. Because there are certain things, conversation. Because like a last born they can offload anything. But
I feel like maybe as a last born you kind of have more lenience because they. I can't know when like but nila strict take a first, take a second day when no, you know. Do you understand?
Like ish.
So what are the things that you can't say to your parents?
For one, well,
sex, obviously.
My dad, okay, sex. I think anything. I'm like, nah, papa kang. Because half of the time I give a little man.
So here's what I want to know. What was the conversation between you and parents when you found out you were pregnant?
Oh, they told me that I'm pregnant.
What?
I didn't even tell them. And I'm to find out. Yeah. And then I go, give it a dumba, baby did, and give me and no one got her exactly then. When I
So how was the conversation? I want to know this.
So I give it my mom was like, oh, pregnant. I'm like, Ganja. I'm like, literally laha. I'm literally like, hey, bo, oh, pregnant. Girl, not go preg. But preg. God, I get preg. My other brother, I did the pregnancy test. I felt like two. And this is exactly just that I was still
In
in
denial.
the denial phase. So it's like I'm born at the cigarette. Ugh, get made. And the thing is, I had a flat stomach. Like a flat stomach. I had a crop top. And
then so your dad?
my dad was like, oh, okay, man. I was like, oh, okay, oh, some writing and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, sharp. And the weird thing
That must
about
have been very uncomfortable to have that conversation with your parents.
it was. I think the uncomfortable part was actually experiencing pregnancy and having to be in a space or okay, she's still a teenager, but she did adult things and she's gonna be a mother.
So
Because I'm a teen mom.
did they know that you were sexually active?
No. Go gae, they thought I was sexually active. Ke so thomile John.
Mm.
Because like nne kgale ke le for sport man. Mara bashimane ne ke ba tshaba. Go gae ba se tlhaloga gore bashimane ke ba tshaba. Like ne ke papa but se tsa mo jolo oh guys.
Oh, damn. So what else can't you say to your parents? I find this interesting, actually.
You can't tell them that we are Goa. For example, my mom, like, kana go kasapan kasarata mo jola and stuff. Like, nge pala ke calling. And like, ake jola, ki was Goa, guys. The way o jola ka vene, ke man, ish.
I go jola the AI.
O jola ka vene, asyo, naman sa sinor high, because our yeah, sure. Ito kota. Hi. Guys.
I once heard a meme. I guess it's a meme or a video. Why you not talking? You bet you want your bar.
Ay, vene ke hero romantic. Horo. Isizo hlakane mo lantsheni. Mo lantsheni ke.
Yes, baby.
Bese ngiphuma ngephandle. Udlami. So, ke rata like
I
do yo. Phuma ngephandle. Ke rata bo, baby, I'm outside, you know. Here's some flowers. Let's limbali. Like venege man. Venege man. Oh, venege ke
So you can't tell your parents
so
that.
I can't tell my parents, oh, ban robile pelo. Like
So go wish alone.
go wish.
But I'm not saying it's illegal.
Batla bona nje gore au. Na le pimple. Oh. Kunje. Batla bona phone setse ke dlala Ludo. A ke sa le WhatsApp ke di Ludo. No, ke dlala game. No, but there's still certain, like there's a lot. In finance, you cannot talk to family about finances.
Why not? Aren't they supposed to be the ones helping you?
Wait. First of all, if on thola mmereko, wa ba botsa go nna le 7,000.
Yeah, go
Tsa fa go yo and we pente ele. And we see grocery. So mara tswe gore mo mogolong wa o sala ka transport. You must never talk finances with her cuz ba tlo go planela. And when I went kere o duletse ntsha ganyana. How re clubs. I wear a haircut. I wear a tlhago se no se ba. I wear anything for cardiac. So finances nah, there was a day sela ka mpazam and then I learned. So no, ha ba mpotsa re o gola ba ka kere o ise ba mpha 200.
Oh, exaggerate.
And so that how about la gore 550 ra kere ke ka mohago.
I hope your mom is not watching this.
Ke ka mohago. Batsadi.
Okay. Let's move on. That's interesting. I want to talk about. Do you know Ibrahim Traore? Do you know this guy?
Majive.
Oh my God, no.
Wait. Majive.
So he's this guy. He took over.
What?
Burkina Faso. It's a country in Africa, all right? So he took it over in a coup. Like he wasn't elected into power. And as soon as he became the president of Burkina Faso, he's been implementing changes in the country. Like and I'm talking about real changes that are actually given back to the country. So Burkina Faso is
why Ramaphosa such a man. Okay, so
yeah, that's what I was asking. Is should South, but let me explain it before I ask you the question. So the changes that he's implementing is that Burkina Faso now was still under France. So when he took over, and they were still paying tax to France because France
That's wild.
colonized. Do you understand?
That's wild.
So now he cut ties with the Western world, and all the companies like wabona like most South Africa, bo Anglo American, bo all the companies that he build on the road to from overseas that are coming to do took over the mines and took over the gold, and then the money that he got from all those things, he bought equipment for his country.
That's dope.
Employed the countrymen. You guys build roads. All the equipments are here. We do not want American Swiss. We want our country. Businesses, our country. The farms, like even the food that you find at the supermarket, made in Burkina Faso. From your tomatoes to your the packaging. He also bought an airline. Do you understand? An airline. Yeah, like, do you understand what I'm saying?
He sounds like my type.
And the way he got into power, like he took over power. He wasn't voted in. And the people love him so much. People sleep in front of, like, I don't know what they call it, the Parliament or something. White House. People sleep in front of the White House to protect him on the floor. They're like, we don't want anything happening to our president. Ibrahim Traore.
So
my question is that, do you think South Africa should take a page out of that book?
They should, or else we're gonna end up like Zim being in a situation where there's hyperinflation.
But then that's what they say about us doing exactly that. Like, that's the warning. If we get rid of all the Western companies, we're gonna end up like Zimbabwe, because that's what Zimbabwe did.
We're already going there.
Regardless of the West.
We're already going there, because when you look at it, we have 66 American companies in South Africa, and we only have 6 countries. Like, make that make sense. But you keep on wanting to bring more Western things this side, while there are people who are very, what do you call it in English? Who are equipped to carry out the work that you are paying for the outside people. Like, make it make sense. Usagadi Sterling, Ranga Sterling.
They say that the intelligence and
Intelligence.
I don't even know who Sterling you know. But then one other thing that I wanted to pick your brain, Kayo, he's advocating for Africa United, like one currency for Africa. Because what he's saying is that all the raw materials that the world, Africa, and Steve Harvey also said this, but Africa is the only continent that doesn't need to import anything, because if they actually did everything themselves, everybody would come to, like, your gold, your platinum, your aluminium, your coal, your
saying that.
Do you understand? So this guy is actually advocating why don't we have one Africa? Like the United States. The United States of America it's a lot of states, and they calling them, it's under one president.
And look at the dollar. Strong.
Yeah. And the dollar is just a piece of paper. Like, we literally have gold.
So it's a little kipampir. It's just things floating.
So would you live in a one Africa?
I would, honestly.
But we're complaining about Zimbabweans in the country, and
we're complaining because of how they get into the country, and how with other companies like Donate Fan Muder, they rather hire them, because of when you hire them, it's cheap labor. While South Africans saying, I have the qualification, I went to school for this, there's no way you're gonna give me 20 rand for an hour. So the problem is that, you know very well, these people come here illegally. They are willing to do anything. But let us legalize certain things. When we exchange labor, even in twisting sense on paper, it's about the backdoor. So I'm gonna company ne ke barekela. Company le most of the people who were in prison. ba batlisitse ka mo gore ba tlo save time. They are not saving time. They working like slaves. And the company thing, like, they hardly get audited, but they hardly.
Why are they bribing the municipalities or?
I don't know how far does it, but because our like our live like corner to corner, our national passport. Ka fela batho bale, they did some serious crimes go India, go kai kai. Mara ba busy kwale. They're working like slaves day and night. So you need to legalize certain things for okay, why company A is a shelter kana, but we are saying there's unemployment. Who's making those things?
Oh yeah, and the last question that I have also about Ibrahim Tarure, he made a law. Now this one I'm not sure about. He made a law in Burkina Faso to ban pornography.
Yes. Pornography ke lo tsa Satan. Pornography etsa gore banna ba febe. Pornography ke yone etsa gore monna a naganang ka re go sharp go gama mosadi, then mosadi wa teng wa mmola, and then ka sana re hashtag zinzile walla or mara she consented. Ban pornography. Batho ba etsa porn guys ba tlhoka ba tlhoka mogana jes. Bile le psychology ba tlhoka exorcism, like why wasn't it yo?
So you think South Africa will be better off if
Gore ba gaogane. Motho a tla go lotsa a bonyetse. Yo.
Alright guys, that's how we're gonna leave the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Thank you so much. Cardiac and Pinky, sharp ne.
Sharp. Kirle sharp.